Rahim with Leonard Ellerbe post-fight. Gervonta Davis, Isaac Cruz, a packed house tonight. So I want to do something a little different because so much has been said over the course of this week and even tonight that we're going to answer some of the reaction that's already come in. Some fans do believe that Isaac Cruz edged this fight.
Nowhere in the hell he won this fight. Nowhere in the hell. It was a good fight. In my opinion, Tank probably won 8-4 if I had to score it, but which I was not scoring the fight. Tank was boxing circles around him. Because you see a guy come forward, he's aggressive. That's his style. That's his style, how he is. And he's a good fighter. I've been saying that all along, that he's a solid fighter. And again, you had to wait till tonight to see what he was going to bring to the table. But if you know anything about the sport and you follow these fighters who don't have high-profile names, then you know what kind of fighters that they are. You give them credit. And I've had nothing but respect for Isaac Cruz coming into this fight, doing the build-up to, this fight. We're saying that he's going to be a tough, hard-nosed Mexican. He's going to come in. He's going to lay it all, leave it all in the ring. His country's behind him, and he's not going to want to disappoint his country, and he's going to fight his behind off. And that's exactly what he did.
And the first thing Tank said after the fight was easy work. And
because he boxed circles around him. It was not like Tank got beat up or anything. You know what I mean? The guy, he threw a few shots. When I say threw a few shots, it a lot of times, because I think somebody even said that Tank was hurt. Tank was never hurt in the fight.
Was there any point where he was challenged more than he had been before? Were there at least difficult spots in the fight?
It was more entertaining because he's a tough, hard-nosed fighter. He has an aggressive style. And anytime he's a come-forward fighter, pressure fighter, so he's going to be swinging at wild angles. But every time I've looked around, he missing and Tank running him into the ropes and turning him and kept turning him and turning him. And that's what he was doing, just boxing.
Coming into the fight, Tank has knocked out 24 of 25 opponents. He landed his signature shots. He landed the uppercut numerous times and couldn't get Cruz either. Not even a knockdown. What do you attribute that to?
Kid has a good chin. You got fighters out there that got good chins. He's solid. Again, how many times have I had to say that with the buildup? We were going to find out what kind of chin he had. You know what I mean? And we found out that he's a tough, hard-nosed guy. He's a solid fighter. And do I think that he would beat other guys, y'all say the top lightweights? I think he would.
Do you believe that Davis was educated tonight, even if just in what his abilities are, with a pressure fighter, with a guy, like you said, who has a chin, who wasn't able to get out of there, had to fight every minute of every round? What do you think Davis came away from this fight with tonight?
Experience. That's the best teacher, experience. Again, I've had the pleasure of witnessing fighters like Isaac Cruz, Jesus Chavez, Carlos Hernandez, them the type of guys that Floyd fought early on in his career. You know what kind of style these guys bring, and they're going to lay it all on the line. And you better get up. You better get up, because these are the guys that if you let up off the gas in training camp, these are the guys that will upset you. And again, Tank, he worked very hard in camp. He hurt his hand in the fight, no excuse. All the credit to Isaac Cruz for making it a very competitive fight, but Tank outboxed him.
Tank, when asked about a rematch, initially said, hell no. You being the promoter and, again, a packed house, they stood for the 12th round before even a shot was landed. Could you see this fight being fought again?
No. I mean, Tank outboxed him, and I'm not going to say, it was 11-1 or nothing like that. It was a good, competitive, solid fight. That doesn't want a rematch. Tank outboxed him and beat him. Like, I had no doubt. It wasn't like, I'm like concerned at all. Like, this is Tank is losing this fight. was never any doubt in my mind that he had won the fight.
And tonight, looking at the crowd is one thing. We know who attend boxing matches, but feeling the crowd is something different. And even I was taken aback by how energized this crowd was, stacked to the rafters. And of course, whenever there's two fights on the same night or even consecutive nights, there's going to be comparisons between which fight had the most energy, which fight had the most fans, who had the better fight.
Yeah.
How do you match up against Haney Diaz from last night?
Well, I mean, it's levels, and again, it's no knock on. They fought I thought a good solid fight. Devin outboxed him. That's what it was. I mean, we knew that Devin was at a disadvantage as far as, having fans at the fight, because again, it was poor planning by his promoter. Just terrible planning. Put the kid in a terrible position. But Devin went in there and executed and did what he needed to do. But when you come to a Gervonta Tank Davis fight, it's like night and day. I mean, it was dark in there, and because they didn't sell no tickets. They didn't sell any tickets. And I guarantee you, whatever their gross was at the gate, Tank's probably was 6 times that amount. Guarantee you.
Now, according to Eddie Hearn, and this is all opinion now, I'm not talking about numbers, he had the most competitive fight of the night. He had the fight that the fans were paying the most attention to.
What fans? On Twitter? The fans on Twitter?
I mean, in the build-up, this is how he described the difference between the two fights.
Well, were any fans at his fight?
I don't know the numbers.
There was. Come on, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'll get them for you tomorrow. That's for sure. I'll have them for you tomorrow, and we'll compare our numbers to their numbers, and we say who had the bigger fight.
Now, post-fight, Haney and Kambosos are already set to. It looks like they've already got wheels in motion to make that fight. At least it would appear so. He was ringside. He did the interviews, all this.
I'm not cutting you off. I don't concern myself with anybody else is doing. We move to our own beat, and whatever Tank decides to do, that's what it's going to be. Tank's the biggest guy in any of those divisions, and they know that they got to come see the cash cow.
With that said, I don't think it's arguable that Tank is the biggest draw at 135 pounds, but the belts reside on the other side of the equation. Right. Is that, in your estimation, a value worth getting? Is Tank becoming a world champion, holding one of those titles, if not at some point undisputed, something that you see as a goal for him and important for his career?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, most definitely. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Kambosos and his team. He's a terrific fighter. And again, let me ask you this question: what would be the biggest fight for Kambosos out of the guys you named?
Yeah, I don't think it's arguable. Tank is the biggest fight for any of these guys. But does he want to fight those guys and make the biggest fight?
Tank will fight anybody. It just has to make sense. And who does George Kambosos make the most money with?
I would believe Tank and any of these guys would make the most money with.
So it's the biggest fight and the most money.
So what I'm trying to figure out is who is actively trying to make the biggest fight with the most money, because it doesn't appear to be a conversation that's actually being had by either side.
Well, we just coming off of a fight. Unlike other promoters, I'm not gonna say promoters, I'll say fighters. We stay in our moment. Now we do things behind the scenes, and kind of know what direction and that kind of stuff. But as far as, we knew this kid was gonna be tough. And you get to talk about moving ahead, then you overlooking and disrespecting what's in front of you, and that's a no-no. That's how you get upset. That's exactly how you get upset. I had nothing but the utmost respect for Cruz and his team, Sean Givens, Manny Pacquiao Promotions. He's tough. Again, He's no different from anything I've ever seen before. He reminds me of the Jesus Chavez's and the Carlos Hernandez's, that I've seen coming up. We knew what it was.
Now, of the guys calling Tank out, Ryan Garcia has made his desire known.
Oh, he doing that again?
Yeah.
He doing that again? What Ryan Garcia needs to do, in my opinion, go get you a fight. And if all this talking you doing, get your ass in the ring. Don't talk about it. Get your ass in the ring. You saying y'all said I wasn't on Twitter, so I don't know what he said. And again, I'm just going off of what some of you guys have said. Listen, get him a tune-up fight. Get him a tune-up fight, which I'm sure that they're gonna probably put him in the ring at some point, and then we'll see what he's gonna do. I guarantee he won't get in the ring with Tank Davis. I guarantee you that.
Now, again,
Tank will run his ass out the ring. Trust and believe that. He will run his ass out the ring.
Do you believe that to be true for Devin Haney, for Kambosos, for even Lomachenko?
Listen, Tank will beat any lightweight out there. Any of them guys. You name them, he can beat them. That just don't go for Ryan Garcia. Tank will beat them all.
So on a night like this, when there is a sensational fight, this one was a tough one. No one can say it wasn't tough. Even you guys say it wasn't that tough, but the fans.
No, we didn't say it wasn't that tough. He's a tough, hard-nosed fighter, and again, his style, the styles that make fights, and he has a good chin.
But do you think that at some point soon, Davis would have to fight some of these named fighters at 35?
Okay, we're gonna do. Okay, yeah, we have no problems with fighting anybody. So name specific. I don't have to say any of the names. We have no problems with fighting any of these guys who you're talking about. No problem at all.
So what do you see the hurdle as being to making these fights? If it's the biggest fight, the biggest money, you have no problem. They're calling him out. What's really happening?
Again, it's like, what's really happening? So you just mentioned Haney, for example. Devin Haney makes a lot of money, and I'm proud of him for that. I'm proud of his dad, and I'm proud of him. He's an excellent boxer, and he's a good businessman too. Okay, but would we pay him that kind of money that he's making? Absolutely not. And I'm just being totally honest. And it has nothing to do with him as the fighter. Because, again, you have to bring value to the table, okay? You have to bring value to the table. It has nothing to do with his boxing skills or they're smart. And it has nothing to do. We're talking about value. But when I say that, then, you just only thinking about, because y'all, but when Aaron say, what did he say? Aaron say, I'm not paying him no X. Why did Aaron say that? Why did Aaron say that?
Yeah.
Because guess what? He's been in the business 50, 70 years or whatever, and he know the economics of the situation and where the revenue comes from, and you know what I mean? He's a smart guy.
You mentioned another promoter, Bob Arum. Obviously, promoters have their own level of competition. Mm-hmm. They've got their own relationships back and forth. Yeah. And the scrum that we just did, you know that is going to go crazy on that place you call Twitter. That thing is going to go crazy in the comments.
Oh, about what I said about the dude. Listen,
let me state it so that you can answer it, because you know they're going to come for this. Okay, you're in the gym, you stay in shape, you box, and just a few minutes ago, you said you beat Eddie Hearn's ass.
I'm saying somebody asked me that question. I didn't just say that. Like somebody said, something about a fight. It's like, yeah. It's like, but I don't want to get this back and forth, because I'm telling you, I'm just being honest. I'm not going to play those games. I'm not going to play that back and forth game. I'm not. I'm going to stay in my lane and do what I do. You know what I mean? I'm not going to play that back and forth and because I'm telling you, y'all can get that man some going, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to allow him to disrespect me. Like, he played that little game. I guarantee you, he come 10 feet close to me, I'll smack the shit out of him in front of everybody. And I mean that. I'm not going to play those games. I'm not gonna play those. Them are kid games. I'm gonna stay in my lane and mind my business and take care of my fighters. But this back and forth, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. That man just needs to mind his business, keep my name out of his fucking mouth, and do his job. And we good.
I mean, Leonard is suddenly saying like it's on site. If you see Eddie Hearn.
Listen. If he says something disrespectful to me, I will smack the shit out of him. Period.
There it is. Radio Rahim with Leonard Ellerbe.